Now, an hour of clarity for exhausted people of our nation mired in toxic partisanship. Left versus right. Us versus them. While we pay to keep our politicians fighting, how do we, the people, rise up and solve the great challenges of our time? We do it by embracing freedom and liberty. There may be no such thing as a free lunch, but this hour is as close as it gets. Welcome to A Free Solution.
All right, welcome to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Appreciate y'all being here. We're live here on WYSL, which means that you, the listener, can give us a call, 866-552-1009. That's 866-552-1009 or 585-346-3000, your preference. Shout out down the line to our friends listening over at WACK Newark and WENI, the Patriot, down in the Southern Tier. Appreciate y'all wherever you're listening, online to A Free Solution, the YouTube channel, Free Solution, the Facebook page, or any of the Kevin Wilson pages. Appreciate y'all being here. So today, I want to talk about national statistics versus local problems and how one shouldn't necessarily inform policy in the other. And for those listening online, you can kind of see what my title was, but national statistics aren't always good indicators of solving local problems or creating national policy. And sometimes local problems aren't indicative of a national problem. And, I'm thinking about this in terms of violence, in terms of violent crime. Now, I want to go about this in two ways, right? So again, I'm going to point out that there's a difference between what is going on nationwide and what is going on in some cities as far as violence goes in the United States, right? And I also, I'm going to call out this annoying thing that I've done before, other libertarians have done before, conflating these national statistics with having empathy for a local problem. And, I had a good friend tell me this the other day. He was being a real jerk about the point, and I still think I was right. My friend Kevin from the Liberty Show, I felt like I was making a good point on immigration, but he said, look, you can cite all the national statistics you want. You are coming off as a jerk, essentially, to people who are worried about immigration in that area. Okay, so I'm taking that to heart. I'm taking that to heart here in terms of violence, because I have done this before in terms of national statistics. But let's talk about those first. Let's talk about crime in the U.S. Because here's the thing. A lot of people think that over the last 20, 30 years, that crime's been going up and up and up and up. But the fact is that quite the opposite is true. That crime has fallen significantly from the early 90s down to where we are today. Right? So, and I'll post a link to where I'm pulling some of this from. There's a Pew Research article that I'm pulling some of this from. But it says, another quote from it here. It says, using FBI data, the violent crime rate fell 49% between 1993 and 2019, with large decreases in the rate of robbery down 68%, murder and non-negligent manslaughter down 47%, and aggravated assault down 43%. Property crime also fell 55%, burglary fell 69%, motor vehicle theft fell 64%, and larceny theft fell 49%. So threw a whole bunch of stats at you. The overall picture, overall violent crime has fallen 74%. You take those in all together. 74%. That's huge. That's incredible. That is good news. But that doesn't match up with the perception U.S.-wide of what people think is happening. So U.S.-wide, the last time they did this one, the last one I could find for this was 2020. But it says U.S.-wide percent of adults who say there's more crime than there was a year ago. Back in 2000, 47% said that. In the year 2020, 78% said that. Now, part of that's because, well, lots of people perceived that there's more crime going on. But when they asked, not nationwide, but in your area, where you live, is crime going up? In the year 2000, 34% said yes. In 2020, 38% said yes. So people are perceiving not a lot of crime going up in the area, maybe, in some places, but people think nationwide, elsewhere, somewhere else in the US, that crime is rising, that crime is going up quickly, that crime is happening. Now, the reason I point out all these statistics, the reason I talk about all these things is that there is national policy that is created around this stuff, kind of both directions. So a national policy, and we see that with the Biden administration, we saw it with Donald Trump, who'd always say that crime was going up. And in 2017, 2018, 2019, 2016, that was not true. Crime was going down a lot, pretty much everywhere. It's going down a ton. But because 78% of Americans believe that crime is going up nationally, that justifies increased spending addressing crime. That, oh, there must be crime waves going on because I see them on national news. I see what's going on in cities like Oregon or in Portland. I see what's going on in New York City. I see what's going on in Chicago. And the thing is, in some of these cities, it isn't good. It's not great. There are periods of violence. In 2019 in particular, though, crime was going down. There's a ton of sensational stories going on related to New York City, when in 2019, up till the beginning of 2020, it was statistically one of the lowest crime years ever. But because people perceive it going up, again, we devote resources to this. And we say, okay, well, because we think crime is going up, we can have more federal spending go towards police militarization. You see these wild stories where it's like, well, I guess that's why we need, these like these MCATs going into like small local police departments. That's why we need, more rifles. That's why we need, I kid you not, grenade launchers going to like school police out in California. Grenade launchers. It's bonkers. It's ridiculous. And so that's something that, as a fiscal conservative, as someone who doesn't want to spend all this money on stuff and who looks at the big national picture, like I don't want my taxpayer dollars going towards this, when on a national level, the problem is misrepresented, that people think that there's far more crime than is actually happening, when we should be looking at what are the causes for that significant drop in crime. Why did we have a 74% drop in violent crime over 30 years? That's a big deal. It's great. It's a good thing. What caused it? Was it mass incarceration? Did that help? Was it removing the lead from everything? That's one of the leading theories. Was it something else? How did we get to this point? And then again, why after such a significant drop in crime do people perceive there to be so much of a rise in criminality? What's the perception gap? Now, I also say all this again. I started out. I have a little bit of culpa, a little bit, just tiny bit, where I look at all these statistics and I say, again, obviously we shouldn't be spending more money. You dumb sheep out there. No offense, guys, but if I'm being dramatic, you dumb sheep out there, why are you thinking crime is going up when the statistics say the opposite? Why are you thinking this? You're just not reading it. You're falling to the mainstream media, fear mongering, blah, blah, blah. I'm on my goofy libertarian rant. But me from, a year ago saying that same thing, that started to annoy me a little bit, because I've realized that situation doesn't apply everywhere. That in some places, there really is a rise in violence. Statistically provable, not just mainstream media fear-mongering. And we need to find ways to deal with that. And for those of you who were like me saying like, oh, statistically crime's down. Okay, yes, it is. And we should make national policy under the false assumption that crime's going up. But in some places, it really is going up. And to be dismissive of that makes you look like a total jerk. If I go up to someone in Rochester right now and say, well, statistically it's better than the 90s, I'm going to look like a complete jerk. People are going to think I don't have empathy for the people who live in neighborhoods not too far from my house where there's actual violence going on, where there have been now hundreds of people shot this year alone, where crime has gone up significantly. And when we come back, I'll talk about what the actual statistics are. what are we actually looking at? What are the numbers? So you can be informed, like, what is the actual scope of the problem. All right, thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. If you want to call in, weigh in on this, give us a call, 585-346-3000. That's 585-346-3000. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovations should be your first call. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
The Finger Lakes Castle team is in its 7th decade of factory direct service to the service professional. From cleaning the ins and outs of your vehicle to keeping you on the road, Castle's got you covered. Castle makes streak-proof glass cleaner, FDA-registered sanitizers, and EPA-registered hospital-grade disinfectants. Remember, when you need to keep it clean, use what the pros use. Castle. Accept no substitutes.
Castle keeps it clean.
A message from the National Police Association. It used to be that any able-bodied person would offer to assist a police officer in danger. Now, passers-by are more likely to take a video. There's a better use for your phone when an officer's in trouble. Call 911. Tell the operator where you are and what you see. Then, start your video to provide evidence later. To learn more about how you can assist law enforcement, visit nationalpolice.org. That's nationalpolice.org.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the Best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we're talking about statistics, crime, policy, all those things. And, you know, I will get the comments from our friend Tim O'Connor, who, of course, is hosting our Thursday show, and he's listening today. And he chimed in and said, because I started talking about immigration. Immigration is third-rail libertarian philosophy, unfettered immigration in a ubiquitous and welfare state, a recipe for failure. Listen, I know some libertarians think this. You know, I always fight with folks, and maybe Tim and I will spend the show talking about this. I think immigration should be as easy as possible, even with the welfare state. We can do both. You know, if we want to dismantle the welfare state, let's talk about that. But let's bring in people who want to work hard, get jobs, and do their thing. And then Tim, the second point too, fear of crime excuses centralization of power and limitations on individual rights. And that's exactly it, right? When people are scared, they start to justify Fourth Amendment violations. They, you know, again, you're being secure in your persons and property, being secure from warrantless searches, because you're so fearful that you think, well, if the government's violating someone's rights, well, if that's what they need to do to keep me safe. No, they don't need to do that. You should be secure in your person's papers, your computer equipment, all that stuff. If the government wants to search your things, get a warrant. We don't need to justify all this excessive militarized police spending. We don't need to spend a few more $1 billion on police through the COVID funds. Like I don't think that's necessary in most areas, and I don't always think that more police are the right solution to specific problems that exist locally. Now, and again, I said all of the stuff last segment. I used to be that guy who's like, look, national statistics say crime's going down. If you're fear mongering about rising crime, then that's that's just you falling into media propaganda. Like a lot of no offense to the ones that you listen to, but a lot of news stations know that reporting on crime is more interesting than not reporting on anything, right? Like it's not news when nothing happens. So they're going to run headlines of crime. We are psychologically hardwired to pay attention when something goes wrong, when there could be a danger, because again, you don't survive out in the primordial jungle, just, remembering, oh, well, in that bush, nothing happened. You remember when there's, a lion in that bush. You remember oh, there's predators in this area. There's a danger to me in this area. And so that sticks out in your mind. And same thing with stories of crime, no matter where they're coming from, if it's just a regular domestic crime or, immigration or whatever it is, or terrorism, you fixate on those things. And we need to, make sure that we're not overcorrecting policy and violating our individual rights and endangering our liberty by overcorrecting the solution to prevent potential violence when, again, over the last 30 years, statistically, doesn't back it up. Not on domestic crime, not on immigration, not on terrorism. Now, the point that I want to make, again, is that I know I need to do a better job of making sure that I'm not dismissive of individual and community situations where there is an exception to that national trend. Again, nationally, crime's going down, but locally, in some places, it's going up. It's a serious situation. I look like a total jerk if I say, well, crime's down from 30 years ago, when their neighborhood, they've seen 2 people shot in the same street. This isn't unheard of in the city of Rochester, which, again, I like living in the city. I think I'm pretty safe. I think most of the time it's great. But there is a serious problem with violence. There's 4 people shot at a Walmart parking lot last night. One of them died. It's terrible. And I will call out media fear mongering all day long. But here's what the stats say. This is from New York State. This is what stats say on crime in Rochester, violent crime, specifically like gun crimes, right? So shooting incidents where, there was an injury, up 67% over the 5-year average in 2020. Shooting incidents where there's an injury in 2021, up 126%. And actually, the stats that I'm looking at are outdated. They're, I'm looking at it from, I think it's end of May, where these stats are. In June, of course, when things get hotter, it's, there tends to be more stuff. It's even higher. I think the Reuters, national, news outlet, did a story in Rochester called "One City Ready to Explode" as U.S. murder rate surges in pandemic. And half the articles talking about the city of Rochester, where I live, the city where many of you are listening. If you're listening on WYSL, if you're listening outside of this too, there's similar rises in crime in many other cities across the U.S. But Rochester in particular is having a very violent couple of years. 2020 was violent. I'd say it was up 67%. Individuals killed by gun violence in 2020 was up 98%. It's even higher in 2021. Shooting victims from 2020, from last year to this year, up 94%, nearly doubling. And that was before June. They had only 148. I know there's at least, the Reuters article cited 189. 35 people had already been killed. We're on track to have 70 people killed in a small city like this. That's a huge deal. It is actually going up. Again, up 132% in 2021 so far over the 5-year average. Huge. Double numbers. It's something that I think is worth acknowledging. And that when people tell me, oh, well, Kevin, again, statistically, it's, it's down overall. I'm like, yeah, listen, I know that. I understand that, and I don't think that national policy should be based off of what's going on in Rochester. But don't dismiss the problems that exist here and the solutions that have to exist specific to your city where you may be facing one of these problems. And I don't know what that solution is. I wish, I know it's called free. I don't 100% know what that solution is. Like all the progressives want to say, well, if we just ban guns, no, you're not. The people are still going to get guns. They're getting them from all over. Most of the crime is illegal guns. You're not going to stop it that way. And I don't know that the problem is necessarily more police. People think that we defunded the police in Rochester. We didn't actually do that. We didn't really defund anything at all with the last budget. It more shifted budget to another department to do the same thing. Nothing got defunded. In most cities, there was a lot of talk of defunding the police, but really nothing happened. And it will be, they did in the city, they did add more dollars, again, not really cutting much, but add more dollars to have crisis intervention services, so mental health support services, and that's great. I don't know what that does specifically for, what might be gang violence in a lot of these cases, or just I imagine, and I don't fully understand the scope of this problem. I need to get someone on to talk fully about the scope of this problem, but I imagine a lot of it is you got these, young people, teenagers, or like immediate post high school, they're not able to get a job. They're, especially during COVID, and during that time, they maybe got mixed up with the wrong people, and suddenly, a cycle of violence grows and grows and grows and escalates. You see your friends get hurt, and then you start thinking it's justifiable to hurt other people because they hurt your group of friends. You're going to go after their group of friends, and that type of toxic cycle of violence is what needs to be broken. And I don't know that police can do that alone. Like when I look at what happened with the Walmart incident yesterday, who knows what it was. There's a larger group of people there. There's a big fight. There's usually police officers stationed at that Walmart. It's technically right outside the city. And they weren't able to stop that. Could they have gotten enough police officers in time to break that up? Maybe. I don't know. But what's the cause? Why are people doing that? Is it just, it's hot? Makes people angry? No, that's not a good enough excuse. I'm hot too. Haven't hurt anyone. What is causing this? Again, I don't know. I don't have all the answers to this one. I wish I knew how to fix this one. But what I want to tell you is to just look at these situations. This is why we need local control over stuff, right? Nationally, and I know nationally, we might be getting some help from the federal government too. Like immediately after their primary election, Lovely Warren said, okay, we're going to bring in the feds to help. Seems a bit political to me. If she had done that 2 weeks ago, would it have made a difference? I don't know, but it would have made her look bad, right? Like people would have been highlighting again how that is a failure to address these problems. Even though it's not totally on her, maybe partially on her, but not totally on just the mayor alone. It is a complicated situation of desperation, COVID, government shutdowns, school shutdowns too. Again, if you're a kid who's 15, not in school, not being supervised, maybe you have more opportunities to get in trouble. I don't know. But like, what is the non-government solution to that? What is the non-government solution to? I don't want to just like, oh, well, the solution is to keep kids in school more. And then when they're out of school, send some other government institution. And that's what the lefties want to do. Like, oh, we'll just give kids jobs and we'll get them, in the system all day long. Well, I don't like that. I want to have kids who don't know how to operate outside of the government telling them what to do every hour of the day. How does that prepare them for successful adulthood? It doesn't. All right. Anyway, we'll keep talking about this and a few other things, and then maybe we'll switch topics. We may be getting into another, new/old war again. We'll talk about that. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. We're going to be back in just a few minutes. Give us a call if you want to participate. 866-552-1009 or 585-346-3000. More on A Free Solution in a few minutes.
Now it's Dan Bongino, weekday afternoons.
WYSL.
AM 1040 Avon Rochester, FM 92.1 Rochester, and FM 95.5 Spencerport.
Here's the latest forecast from the News 10 NBC Weather Center for tonight. We'll have mostly cloudy skies, another warm and humid night out there. Temperatures dropping into the low to mid 70s. On Tuesday, another hazy, hot, and humid day in the 80s to around 90 degrees, with a chance of an afternoon or evening thunderstorm. More frequent showers and thunderstorms likely on Wednesday. Not as hot, but it will still be very humid. Temps in the 80s. I'm Rich Canilia, WYSL.
There's a place in the village of Avon you and your critters will love. Whether they're big or small, whether they've got hair, fur, or feathers, Avon Feed fits every need. There's a full selection of pet foods for dogs and cats, bird feeders, suet, and dry shot boots and garden shoes. They've got grass and clover seed too. Check out our frequent flyer birdseed program. Buy 10 bags of birdseed, get the next bag free. Choose farm feeds and great equine products like Blue Seal and Nutrina, plus Poland grains. Everything for your pet, from feeding bowls to toys, leads, collars, and tie-outs. Avon Feed and Supply has what the big pet chain stores will never have. Tim Cole and his great knowledgeable staff. And if you think you'll save money at that pet superstore, well, think again. While you're at Avon Feed, don't forget the two-legged pet with River Rat Thousand Island cheese in great flavors, including hard-to-find mean and nasty, plus once again nut butters, Nunday mustards, Dan's garlic, and Rickles pickles. Open weekdays 9 to 6, Saturday 9 to 4. Avon Feed and Supply, West Main Street at the bottom of the hill, just west of the Circle.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hear that? Opportunity isn't just knocking, it's pounding at the door. It's opening for you at Woodcliff Hotel and Spa. Now looking for great, motivated associates focused on career growth and personal development for numerous positions in their renovated, luxurious facility. When you join Rochester's premier Woodcliff team, get up to $2,000 in bonuses, including an immediate $300 sign-on bonus for hourly associates. 96% of employees said they were proud to work at Woodcliff in a 2020 survey. Go to woodcliffjobs.com and apply today.
We're all busy, running to get the kids to practice, rushing to get dinner on the table, hurrying to meetings, the store, or getting to those endless lists of errands. That's why more and more Rochesterians are tuning in to the newscast that fits their schedule. News 10 NBC at 7. Exclusive investigations, up-to-the-minute breaking news, and, of course, your first alert forecast. It's how Rochester gets caught up before the sun goes down. News 10 NBC at 7.
5:45 p.m. Lights are low, candles lit, music soft. The scent in the kitchen is exquisite. Champagne's about to gonna pop. And you enter in your elegant moments lingerie, cause the clothes you wear, double don't wear you, and the things you bear sometimes come into, and the things you dare give whisper to. So you slip on, slide on, shimmy and shift for the perfect fit. Nothing short of elegant, nothing short of elegant. Elegant moments lingerie, available at Show World.
Sheriff Thomas Doherty wishes you a happy and safe 4th of July. Whatever your plans might be for the 4th of July, make sure you are planning to include safety. Swimming, boating, off-road driving, barbecuing, and fireworks are popular activities for this holiday. When driving, remember to buckle up and not drink and drive. Swim where there are lifeguards if possible, and no diving unless you know what is below and the depth. Boating is fun if you have the safety equipment needed, and pay attention to other boaters and swimmers. Barbecue safety requires that you know there is a right way and a wrong way to start your grills. Fireworks are best left to the professionals.
Emani, time for school, baby. Emani, time for school. Emani, it's time.
A different couch, a different floor, the backseat of a car. Over 2,000 Rochester school-age children are homeless, but now there is hope. The Open Door Mission Coldwater House for moms and their children. opendoormission.com/doves. A free solution.
Welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host today. Thank you so much for joining us. We're live here on WYSL until 1 p.m., which means that you, the listener, can call in. Give us a call, 866-552-1009. That's 866-552-1009. Shout down the line to our friends listening over at WACK out in New York, at WENI, the Patriot, down in the Southern Tier, and our friends listening online at Free Solution YouTube channel, Free Solution Facebook page, the Kevin Wilson pages, wherever you're listening. The podcast, too. We got a podcast. Just look for A Free Solution. Wherever you're listening, thank you. You can leave your comments online too. I will make sure that I read those when I get a chance. And maybe we'll put them on air. And so we got one comment too from Tim. Another comment says, we made kids feel like criminals just by leaving their houses. We took their jobs and schools away from them, and we were surprised that had repercussions to society. Again, Tim, great point on that one. Appreciate you commenting. And by the way, if you want to see what I'm referencing, I can't, it's hard for me to share URLs over the radio, but you can always go to A Free Solution, the Facebook page, or on YouTube. Any of these places I leave in the comments most of the time the articles that I am referencing for these. So I left one on Pew that has a bunch of stats about crime and perception about crime in the U.S. I got another one for New York State crime stats, and that's January through May. And then another one, which is a Reuters article that focuses on violence growing nationwide in some cities. Again, it's not in every city, but it certainly is in some cities. But a lot of it focuses on, Rochester, New York, where I live. And so that's something that's going to be, important to people, listening to some of these stations. A city here in upstate New York, in a place where we have the strictest gun control laws, where we have a ton of government resources going to, in theory, fix these problems, is facing one of the fastest rises in violence in the country. And we're now at a per capita rate that exceeds Chicago. And it's not total number, because Rochester's still a small city, but a per capita rate that exceeds Chicago and Rochester here in New York. It's a serious thing. I don't think that requires a federal solution, because in the same way I would say this about any other problem, economic, criminal, environmental, and that stuff, it doesn't always require some bozo in Washington, D.C. who has no knowledge of what's actually happening here to tell us what to do about that. They're going to throw a bunch of money at the problem. No, that's not what we need to do. It doesn't need to come from Washington, D.C. It needs to come locally. We need to figure out what is the root cause of why people are turning to violence. Why are people joining gangs? Why are people so quick to resort to shooting someone? And again, I don't think that Joe Biden has the answer to that. I think we have to figure out what specific situations cause that here. And that could be, again, part of coronavirus, part of the government response to that, part of the education system that we have here, which is also struggling, is putting it mildly. No, actually, no. I'm not going to pull my punches. It's failing. The school system in the city of Rochester is failing. It's terrible. So all these situations factor into that. And I do have one potential solution. And I'll keep it to just this segment. If you want to hear me talk more about that, I did an episode of the Liberty Show last Saturday that'll be coming out soon, where we talk about youth incarceration and prisons, and I talk a bit more about this. So that's a whole show with a bunch of other experts who know probably more than me on this subject. But one of the solutions is ending the drug war. And I know, libertarian wants to end the drug war. Big surprise. But all right, hear me out. So the reason why I say ending the drug war is part of this. The cycle of violence does start somewhere, right? You know, you get these kids, sometimes they're bored, or they have, you know, siblings who get into the drug trade. And I understand why that could happen, right? You need money, or you just, you don't have anything to do, or whatever it is. You start to get into the illegal drug trade because that's an opportunity that you see to, well, you could be an entrepreneur and you can improve your lifestyle, right? Like, it seems glamorous, it seems good in the beginning. And so you get into this, and the problem with black markets is that if someone steals from you, they don't pay for a product, or they hurt you in some way, you can't just call the police or take someone to small claims court. You can't just say, oh, police, someone stole my weed. They're going to be like, oh yeah, come in. Well, yeah, no, you're going to get arrested doing that stuff like that. I mean, now it won't matter as much for marijuana, but but if you're selling some sort of illicit product and someone takes something from you, you can't turn to the government, which is supposed to have a monopoly on legitimate force, to help you out, to protect your private property. Someone raids your house, someone hurts one of your friends, you can't turn to the normal law enforcement mechanisms to back that up, to go and get justice on your behalf, to make sure that that is done through the rule of law. So what do? Well, you turn to vigilantism. You say, well, the only way I'm going to go get my money back or my stuff back or get justice for my friend is to go and hurt someone. And so you go and do that, and then suddenly they're hurt. And they say, okay, well, the only way I'm going to get justice for my friend being hurt or killed is to go and get him back. And so on and so on. And you have this cycle of violence that's difficult to break. And rooted in part of that cycle of violence is not just a war on drugs. It's a bunch of complicated stuff going on. And legalizing everything wouldn't necessarily fix that problem overnight. But because, again, this is a product that exists everywhere in the country, rural, suburban, urban, but ends up being concentrated in urban areas, and you don't go to the police for this stuff. If something goes wrong because you operate within a black market, you're the only one who can do that. You and your enforcers and your gang, your group of people, whatever. And then it's hard to escape that, because then, again, you're a wanted criminal. Maybe you've hurt someone, or you've just sold drugs. You have no way of escaping that system. So finding ways to break that, to offer amnesty to some people if they haven't actually hurt someone, if they've just sold drugs, all right, offering a way to get people out of that cycle so they can just stop. That's part of that solution. Ending the war on drugs. And I mean, actually like finding ways to get people to bring some of these products into at least a gray market, or decriminalize them so people can have ways of seeking justice that don't involve vigilantism, because that's all some young people see right now, not thinking through it all the way. And then again, you have these kids whose lives are ruined because they're in jail, they're involved in the criminal justice system, or they're hurt or killed. And it's just so much waste. It's so disgusting. And so that's my aside on what one of the solutions may be. And I think it'd be one of many, is finding a different way to pull people out of these cycles. And again, just wrapping up the rest of this topic, I'm gonna shift to something else in the last segment. It's just, we need to find a local solution to this. A solution that might work in Rochester isn't necessarily going to work in Chicago, isn't necessarily going to work in Oakland, isn't necessarily going to work in, rural Texas. These are all different things. Like, not everyone needs a whole bunch of police resources. Not everyone needs a whole bunch of counseling resources, anti-violence. Not everyone needs that thing. We don't need one national, one-size-fits-all solution for all this stuff. The situations are different. We need to figure out something that works here. What works in Rochester ain't necessarily even going to work out in Buffalo or Syracuse or Albany. Local control, local politics, to end cycles of violence. That's what's important. And again, getting the government out of this as much as possible and figuring out those cultural and social solutions that don't rely on force every time. Sometimes you're going to have police or some of this. I'm not totally anti-police, but as much as possible, getting people so they're not institutionalized all day and then, not feeling like they're left dangling when they don't have that institution to keep them in line, like school or whatever. That's going to be part of the solution too. It's how do individuals in our city develop independence and entrepreneurship in a way that's healthy, and then find better ways of seeking justice when they're injured or stolen from or whatever. All right, so that's all I got in this segment. Thanks again for joining us here on A Free Solution. We're going to go one more segment about a new bombing campaign that the United States is doing. Maybe a couple other things too, depending on how much time we have. Thanks again for joining us. If you want to weigh in on this topic or the other topics I mentioned, give us a call, 866-552-1009, 866-552-1009. We'll be back in just a few minutes.
Why do businesses choose to move their website from Wix and Squarespace to SimpleTech Innovations? Maybe it's their excellent customer service or attention to detail. Maybe it's their ability to give a truly customized solution. Or perhaps they just like the fact that SimpleTech is a local small business that builds great relationships with its clients. Whatever the reason may be, you can rest assured knowing that the local team at SimpleTech has your best interest in mind when building or updating your website. They're hands-on and love helping customers achieve their goals. But don't take my word for it. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. If your website doesn't match your dreams or isn't achieving your goals, give the professionals at SimpleTech Innovations a call today for a consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
Hi, my name is Ryan Bourne.
And I'm Danica Bourne.
And we're the owners of South Coast Tax. We would like to thank our Lord for protecting us from evil. Psalm 91 states, "He is my refuge and my fortress, for he will rescue us from every trap and protect us from deadly disease."
South Coast Tax are Christian-based tax accountants and attorneys who specialize in releasing bank levies, wage garnishments, and filing complex tax returns. We are the leaders in acceptance of offers and compromise with awesome results.
We are also a small firm who will treat you like family and not just a number.
Call us today at 1-800-TAX-1176 for a free consultation, and we'll take the time to explain all of the programs that you qualify for in order to allow you a fresh start.
In John 8:36, so if the Son sets you free, you will be free indeed. And one way we can achieve that is by being debt-free. So let us help you today. Call us at 1-800-TAX-1176, and together we can help achieve this goal by putting the IRS tax debt behind you for good. Again, that number is 1-800-TAX-1176.
Your business relies on computers and technology to operate. Slow, unreliable networks and servers can cause unplanned downtime and affect your bottom line. The experts at SimpleTech Innovations are here to help. Their preventative maintenance program ensures that your computers and network are kept up to date and monitored for any issues, keeping your business running smoothly. They also help clients achieve HIPAA, PCI, and New York State cybersecurity compliance to keep your network safe and secure. Whatever your business IT needs are, SimpleTech Innovation should be your first call. They've won the best in Rochester 8 years in a row and have an A+ Better Business Bureau rating. Call them today for a free consultation at 585-200-3182. That's 585-200-3182. SimpleTech Innovations.
A free solution.
All right, welcome back to A Free Solution. I'm Kevin Wilson, your host for today. Thank you so much for joining us. Again, we're talking about crime, national statistics, and local solutions. And it sounds like we have a caller on the line. Vincent, welcome to A Free Solution. What is on your mind?
Yes, Kevin, thank you for taking my call. I heard you mention about what can be done about crime. You said something about the one size doesn't fit all, and you know, I have to disagree with you on this. All right, politely, I will disagree with you here, because what I think, and I think that a lot of other people that listen to your radio station or the radio station, WYSL, most of them are conservative, moderate conservative to Republican conservative. And I think that they would agree that if law enforcement would be able to do their job, all right, the way they've always done their job, okay, we wouldn't be having as much of a problem with crime. I mean, just recently I heard over the news this morning about a shooting that was in the Walmart shopping center up there in Rondequoit. I guess it was a Hudson Avenue location.
Yeah.
And it's, you know, and now every day, every single day, all right, I hear Savage talking about shootings and killings, all right, every day. Now, that's not to say that it didn't happen in the past. Crime has always happened in the past, but for the most part, we have to kind of like pay more attention, all right, to the numbers rather than statistics.
Yeah. Oh, I don't know if you got cut off or you finished your point. You know, okay, let's talk about a couple of these things. So one, you know, numbers or statistics. Numbers in Rochester and, you know, the stats are up over the last 4 or 5 years. They're down over 30 years, but, you know, we have a growing problem now. Nationwide, it's still down overall, really is. But in Rochester, we have a specific problem here. You know, Vincent, if you are still on the line, I would ask, what do you think police could be doing that they're not doing now, that they're being somehow restricted from doing? Because the fact of the matter is that budgets for police have been going up and up and up over the last several years. And that's still the case this year in the city and surrounding areas.
Well, if you're asking what police can do, I think you're asking the wrong question, Kevin. I think
but you said that police weren't able to do their jobs. And so,
well, right.
how
So let's get to the heart of the
job?
matter. The heart of the matter is the leadership. Okay. The leadership. All right. And, you know, if the cops had a mayor, all right, that wasn't controlled by politics, then I think they would have a much better handle on controlling the crime, or at least getting it down, all right, statistically speaking, down quite a bit more than what it is right now. I mean, people don't feel safe anymore. I'm not saying that they felt safe before, but I can tell you now, they definitely don't want to come out of their house after 7 o'clock. That's for sure. All right. And, you know, I know liberals, they have this idea that, you know, maybe if we just talk to them, maybe if we try to find out what their issues are, maybe if we can try to get inside, you know, maybe, you know, have counseling for these people, you know, they see that as a weakness, Kevin. They see that as a weakness. All right. The strong arm of the law has to prevail. Okay. You don't run a society. You don't run a country on weakness. All right. The strength of the country, all right. The potential or the way people look at a country is by how strong it is. And it's important that we try to hold on to those principles.
So, the principles of using law enforcement as the only means of solving a problem? No,
it's not even law enforcement. It's above law enforcement. Law enforcement is not allowed to do their job properly because they were retrained, especially by this last mayor. Okay? So what needs to be done, and this is just my opinion, all right, and I think that there are people out there listening right now that might agree with me, that what needs to be done is the strong arm of the law needs to come back, okay? And we don't live in a perfect society. Yes, there's good cops, bad cops. There's good doctors, there's bad doctors. I mean, there's no perfect world, and we don't live in a perfect world right now. We can do the best that we can to try to, you know, do what we can when we're able to. But my point is that I think that it's more important to consider, all right, the safety of the people rather than the feelings of a few people or criminals, all right, that are hell-bent on just destroying the city and the people that live in it.
Yeah, right. I mean, again, you make a good point about trying. We do need to keep the actual violent people, the unaccountable ones. We need to make sure that they are dealt with in an effective manner. You know, again, there are certain type of individuals who are just hell-bent on causing chaos, causing hurt, and causing misery. And sometimes the only solution to that is state violence. That is the way it has to go. I don't think that's the only solution for most people. I think most people are just caught up in desperation, cycles of violence, and trying to find other ways to pull them out as part of it. And Vincent, you know, again, I appreciate your call, but the trying to look for a politician to save us is not something that we can hope for. I don't think that the problem is just with Lovely Warren. Right? It's not just her. I don't know that Malik Evans is going to be able to solve this problem. I don't know if we got, you know, Tony Michigan last time, if he would have been able to solve this problem too. It is somewhat bigger and deeper than that. And I got some other comments online too, over on Twitter. Respect for authority is at an all-time low due to false mainstream media narratives. That's the issue. And I think Vincent was making a similar point here too. Is like, you know, a kind of respect for respect for authority. I'm not shy about this. I'm a libertarian. I don't have a ton of respect for authority a lot of time. I think that people should be able to be free and do what they want as long as they are not hurting people and not taking their stuff. And having obedience to the state is not a virtue. And I mean, frankly, like, you know, we see that with like the COVID restrictions too. Are we to be obedient to that authority, to Governor Cuomo's authority, when he tells us, you know, we need to wear a mask in every situation, that, you know, 2-year-olds need to wear masks in school settings, that, you know, you can't open restaurants, that you can't run your business? Do we need to be respectful to that authority? Do we need to be respectful to Joe Biden's authority? Of course we don't. No, we don't. No, if they're restricting our liberty in a way that is ridiculous and doesn't make sense, then let's stop doing it. I don't need to respect that authority. I don't expect other people to respect that authority. And I don't think that the only solution to this is to have cops come down harder. I don't think that the strong arm of the law has ever left. I don't think that the police have stopped doing their job. Again, most police officers are good. They're trying to do the job. They're trying to make sure that they do the best they can to keep people safe. And I don't think that's changed. I don't think it's changed for most people. I mean, they again, if you're a police officer, you got to be careful. Don't hurt someone that doesn't deserve to be hurt, in the same way that I shouldn't hurt someone who doesn't deserve to be hurt. And if you hurt someone who shouldn't have been hurt, or wasn't actually doing anything wrong, like we saw with, you know, several other cases I brought up here, and like we saw the Daniel Brood situation. We saw that with that child being pepper sprayed in the city of Rochester. Yeah, you got to have some accountability for that stuff. If you mess up, if you hurt someone, you got to have some accountability. You know what erodes that respect for that authority? When people see stuff like that, because they're like, well, I don't want to call the cops. What if they hurt me? What if they hurt my child? That's what erodes respect for authority. Police are also doing that to themselves. It's not just a political thing. So yeah, authority is neither good nor evil. Sometimes you need police. Sometimes you need state violence to truly deal with evil in the world. I get that. But also, I don't have to respect them for the sake. I don't have to respect the police who are going to grab my guns. I don't have to respect the police who are going to shut down, you know, my businesses. I don't have to respect the police that are enforcing the mask mandates. I don't have to do any of that. So something to thought. Again, Vincent, truly appreciate the call. I appreciate the comments on Twitter about this stuff. And I am sure y'all are going to send your emails. Email the station or email me, contact@afreesolution.com. Or send me a Facebook message. I love getting this stuff, guys. I do take this seriously, and I love your feedback. Appreciate you joining us here on A Free Solution. Larry Sharp will be in tomorrow. I will be back in on Wednesday. Thank you so much, everyone. Have a great day.
God, family, liberty. WYSL